Well, it's getting on toward that good time of year. The temperatures are getting warmer. The turkeys are flirting out in the front yard. The Hoyas are growing and blooming like crazy. And there have been some new additions to the plant room. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at what's new and some other stuff too. And before we get this all underway, a special thank you to those people who took the time to respond to last week's question about plants you've changed your mind about. A lot of you told me the story behind it, and that was really fun. So yeah, that was cool. Some interesting stories, some funny comments, because you guys are a riot. And yeah, let's get on to some other stuff. And the first other stuff up today is that my Hoya phuwuaensis started blooming. And I'll put some close-ups on the side. This has been just a fun plant. It's got these great leaves. Beautiful splash. I kind of put this one in the same group as caudata. This one has always been a good grower for me. I'm just really happy. But right now it's loaded with peduncles. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the one that's in bloom, 8, 9. Yeah, it likes this time of year. It likes the slightly warmer temperatures and the ease of the humidity. So yeah, that was really cool. I'm very pleased about that and wanted to pass that on. And when I sat down to record this video, I looked across the room, because he lives over there, and made some high-pitched noises of excitement because at last, Hoya patcharawalai is in bloom. And let's see if I can get this to focus. It's looking for me. I've gone away. I'm not here. You can't find me. And I'll have to put some close-ups. But that's what I've been waiting for a while. That pink and pale green. By the time this gets posted, this will be further along. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited about that. And I'll put some close-ups in case it doesn't focus. I'm still figuring out the focal length of this camera. But yeah, gorgeous leaves and blooms at last. So I'm really pleased. Yeah, this is Hoya patcharawalai. And some of you may remember that last summer, I bought a Stephania pierrei, also known as Stephania erecta, which is, of course, why I bought it, because, you know, how could you turn that down? And it grew well. It was beautiful. I really, really liked it. And I think I've got some pictures for over here. But at the end of the summer, it died back, which I knew it would do, and I was fine. And, you know, we had to just wait and see what was going to happen. Now, Stephania pierrei is native to Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. It was first published in 1910 in Das Pflanzenreich by Friedrich Ludwig Emil Diels, but was published again under the name Stephania erecta in 1922 in the Bulletin of Miscellaneous Information, Royal Gardens, Kew, by William Grant Crabb. And it wasn't till later that they realized that it was the same plant. So the name Stephania erecta was sort of retired, and Stephania pierrei was the one that kept because that was first. So yeah, so it grew really well for me. The leaves are beautiful. It forms a nice little thing. I was out watering in the living room last week, and I saw this long vine just creeping along the top of the table, and I couldn't figure out where it came from until I traced it back. And I know it's going to be difficult to see, but Stephania came back. There's this beautiful big, starts down here and works its way up. easily 3 feet, easily a meter. Lots of new growth and leaves all the way up the vine. I am just thrilled. This was so pretty last year. It wants bright indirect light. Bright, yes. Indirect, definitely. It does not want direct sunshine on it. It grows in, I don't know if I'll be able to do this, as a caudex plant. So I got to watch lights and everything else. So there's a caudex, which looks like a potato. As a matter of fact, it's often referred to, oh, there's another one coming on. See high-pitched noises. It's often referred to as the potato. This was just a treat last summer and into the fall. Beautiful green with white veins, so almost round leaves. Yeah, I was very excited because who doesn't love it when your erecta comes back? Yeah, especially at my age, that's always a great thing. So yeah, if you're looking for something different and exotic, this may be it. I just had so much fun with this. I was so excited that it did come back. These leaves will eventually they'll get, good 2 or 3 inches across, which is something in metric. He said, pulling out his handy dandy. So 3 inches is about 7.5 centimeters. Yeah, I was hoping to come up with a better trellising solution, and I should do it now before I have more vines like this to deal with, but very thrilled with this. This is very cool. This is Stephania pierrei. And now on to the stuff that's new. I had seen this next plant around, seen it mentioned. I saw a picture of the blooms, and I thought, well, they're pretty. But, pretty blooms is just not enough. And then I found out that this next Hoya, this is Hoya Noona, is a cross of Hoya David Kamingii and Hoya houseplants. And I said yes, sign me up for that. Because Hoya houseplants blooms smell like buttered popcorn, and Hoya David Kamingii, the blooms smell like a warm spice. Not quite gingerbread, but that kind of oh yeah, satisfying warm spice. So any combination of those two is liable to be very interesting. It's reputed to be fast growing. It's supposed to have beautiful yellow cup-shaped blossoms, not that big, of course, more on the lines of Kamingii and houseplants. And I thought, okay, I need one of those. I had one of those moments, I think, well, I was going to let this trail because both my houseplants, which lives down there, which is why I keep doing this, it's not some kind of tick, and David Kamingii, who lives over there, again, not some kind of behavioral problem. Well, I have enough of those, but that's a different thing. They both trail. Space is at a premium, so I'm probably going to send this one up. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think those leaves are just beautiful. Glossy, plain, green. There's a little bit, just a tiny little bit of a margin on the outside, a darker margin. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. This one came from Plant Haven, Toronto, and this is Hoya Noona. people who've been watching the site for a while know that I love Rhipsalis. I'm an epiphyte guy. I make no apologies for it. And this is Rhipsalis ewaldiana. And it's just growing really well. Now, ewaldiana is native to southeast Brazil, and it was first published in 1995 in Bradleya, Yearbook of British Cactus and Succulent Society, and was published by Wilhelm A. Bartholdt and Nigel Paul Taylor. The original collection site isn't known. It was found growing at University of Bonn in Germany. And the reason, it's a really interesting plant. There's no, it's very interesting Rhipsalis. The reason I got this was I was watering my Rhipsalis in the living room, and I wondered if I could grow them in pond. Since they are epiphytes, they're currently in kind of a bark mixture with a little bit of sphagne. And I was concerned, because there's some very fine ones, Bacifera and some of the others like that, that they were drying out, and perhaps they'd do better if they had a regular supply of moisture. So I found this one online. It arrived bare root, which was fine for me. It had been in some kind of a peat perlite mix, but it was really dry, and so I just kind of cleaned that off, rinsed it off a little bit, and settled it into pond. And that's been maybe a week, maybe two. It hasn't shown any ill effects from that, from the shipment, from the travel, or from the repotting into a completely different kind of medium. But I'm going to try this out, and if this works, the rest of the Rhipsalii, the other Rhipsalises, are going to go into pond as well. I have a feeling this is going to work really well. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Yeah, it's kind of a neat, it's just kind of a neat little plant. The fronds, branches are almost triangular in shape. It's very cool, very pretty. The new stuff coming in is just this gorgeous bronzish color. So yeah, with luck, we'll see some more of that. This one came from Succulents Depot USA on Etsy, and this is Rhipsalis ewaldiana. And the next new Hoya, well, it's not really new, but it's a replacement, is Hoya rigidifolia. Now, Hoya rigidifolia is native to Western Sumatra, the Mentawai Islands, and Pulau Siberut in Sumatra, which is in Indonesia. It was first collected in 2016 and published in 2019 in the European Journal of Taxonomy by Sri Rahayu and Michaela Roda. And the first time I saw these leaves, see if I can find a good one that'll really, I fell in love. I like the color, I like the shape, I like the vein that sort of parallels the edge of the leaves. Maybe this one will show it even better. He said, hoping he didn't pour pon everywhere. They're very pretty. There's a little bit of splash. The first one I had did well, and it just up and died one day. I'm not entirely sure why. My guess is operator error, because it usually is. But it had done really well. I think I had it in a spot where I didn't see it, even when I was watering. And I'm usually really good, like once or twice a month, I take every plant out of its position, look it over, clean it up a little bit, water it, put it back. And I think this one just bellied up on me faster than I anticipated. I have no other explanation. I don't think there were any pests or any issues like that, but yeah, this is I just love this Hoya. So when I found another one at a good price, I said, yeah, absolutely yes. And there were, I think, 3 cuttings in the pot, so that's really good. They all seem to be doing fairly well. It looks like there's the start of a new vine in there, which I'll show it to you, but you're probably not going to be able to see it. I'll try and take close-ups of it, so they'll be over there as usual. Yeah, this one's just fun. Not terribly splashy, but then that doesn't really matter to me. I just think the leaves are so cool. So yeah, this is Hoya. This came from Gabriella Plants, and this is Hoya rigidifolia. And now we have a bunch of like weird plants. So if you're only here for the Hoya, this might not be entertaining, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm having fun with these. These all come from a category of plants that are often referred to as mesembs, which includes Lithops and Conophytum and other things like that. And they are proving to be fun. Yeah, I'm enjoying these. This first one up, and you might not even be able to see that in there. See if we can get it to focus, and there'll be stills, of course. This is Conophytum calculus. Now, this was originally published in 1908 as Mesembranthemum calculus, and Mesembranthemum sort of became an umbrella for all these other types of plants. And then they kind of figured out, well, there's actually different genera within that, so they were broken out. And this was republished in 1922 in Gardner's Chronicle as Conophytum calculus. And when I saw this, it was like a little round ball that was given a, oh, that went all the way to the floor. So that was given a little kiss in there. It's very cool. If you look and think it's wrinkled and looks like it needs a drink, these plants tend to, the outer leaves or the outer shell, not shell, but the outer skin, wrinkles and dies off, and the new leaves come from inside. So yeah, those little bits of wrinkles you see are what it's supposed to do. And yeah, that's just kind of neat. I'm enjoying these. This is in straight pond. There's nothing else in it. There's drainage in the bottom. And these live in either my southeast, southwest, or west-facing windows, right in the window. I was jumping ahead. Right in the window, and they stayed there through the winter. So they can take a little bit of a cooler temperature. I mean, I wouldn't let them freeze, but it was cooler next to the window. So anyway, yeah, this one came from Its Secret Succulents on Etsy, and this is Conophytum calculus. And we've got another one from that category. This is Lithops otzeniana, the green form, sometimes called big teeth or spilling pond everywhere. And Lithops otzeniana is native to South Africa, to the North Cape province. It was first published in 1937 in Kakteenkunde, Organ der Deutschen Kakteengesellschaft, which is the cactus science the organ for the German Cactus Society. And it was, I was going to say published by, but I don't have a name for this. So I think it was just published in general in the society. Considering 1937, there could have been all kinds of factors. This one is neat. I'll put a close-up because you're not going to be able to see it, but the two leaves are just starting to split open. And so that means, this one too is growing in straight pond, that means that I won't water this again until those two old leaves have shriveled up and gone crispy brown. And the two new leaves will emerge from the inside. I am not a mesembryanthemum expert by any way, shape, or form, or in any means, but these have been really fun. If you need a plant that'll fit in a small space, will do fairly well for you with, this is really minimum care, that are kind of pretty and interesting, this little group of plants is going to be fun. I water these, as I said, it's in plain pond. I water these twice a month until they start to split. So you notice that Conophytum was getting wrinkly. That's a signal it's a time to stop watering that one, although that one I'll give little bits to. This Lithops, because it's starting to split and you can see the new leaves inside, this won't get watered again until that's done. They do bloom. I showed one of the next ones blooming just a little bit ago. So yeah, this one also came from its secret succulents on Etsy, and this is Lithops otzeniana, the green form, sometimes called big teeth. And the last of these mesembs are Pleiospilos nelii. And first up I have the green form. And you'll either like this or you won't. I think it's kind of weird and funky, so I'm okay with it. And we have a version of that called Royal Flush, which I showed a week or two ago when it was in bloom. That's a really neat little bloom, but it didn't last very long. So, matter of fact, it's about ready to go away. These have been really cool. Again, these are growing in pure pond. I water on the 1st and the 15th. I think on this one, you might be able to see, there's, if I can turn it just right, there's a split running this way in that center bit. Maybe not. There'll be close-ups. So that's where it would start to open and the new leaves would be forming inside. So until I see that start to open, we're going to go with this. Again, these actually live in my west-facing window with no shade, no nothing else. They get watered twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. And so far have been fun. There are new leaves coming in on the Royal Flush. And I love that color, so it's kind of cool. So these are Pleiospilos nelii green form and Royal Flush, which is a hybrid. They're native to South Africa, the South Cape province, first published in 1930 in Monatsschrift der Deutschen Kakteen-Gesellschaft, the monthly magazine of the German Cactus Society, by Martin Heinrich Gustav Schwantes. These came from its secret succulents on Etsy, and this is Pleiospilos nelii. And now we're back to another Hoya. This one is Hoya fitchii. And I like the leaves. I like the veining on it. It's a nice little plant. Now, Hoya fitchii is native to the Philippines. It was first published in 2009 in Fraterna, Official Bulletin for the International Hoya Association by Robert Dale Kloppenberg. And I have two other fitchii. I have another one of this, and I have one, I think he's living down here. Yes, he is living down here. I'm not going to try and work it out to show you. He's settled in, he's happy, I don't need to disturb him. The one living down here is the same variety as this. And it's just never done well. I mean, it kind of does fits and starts, so there may be something about temperatures or warmth at certain times of the year that it appreciates more than others. But it's never bloomed, and it's been here a while. It's never bloomed. It's not really a great grower, which is a little disappointing. I also have Hoya fitchii, and I'm looking around for it. No, there it is. I just repotted it. Yellow. And that I had in a net pot with bark and sphagnum with a cover pot. And it was just not enough moisture for that plant. It grew a bit, and I couldn't keep enough moisture in that bark sphagnum mix to make that plant happy. So I just recently moved it to self-watering. So with luck, we're going to see some improvement there. But I wanted one of my fitchii to do something. So I thought, let's just try a different plant from a different source. Sometimes it can be the plant. It's not always you. And isn't that refreshing to hear occasionally? So yeah, I thought, let's just try and see what happens with this. Because I do love the look of those leaves. That's very pretty. That little bit of vein in there is just nice. And I like the dark green color. Like that leaf, I think that's gorgeous. So I ordered another plant. There were, I think, 4 cuttings in the pot, which is really nice. I can see new growth, and I'll hold it up, but it's not gonna, it's tiny. There is new growth in there. So I'm pleased about that. And that new growth has come out since it arrived, and this has been here for a couple of weeks. Growing in pond, wick-based self-watering. It's under moderate light, not killer, but it's nice light, So yeah, this one came from Plant Haven, Toronto, and this is Hoya fitchii. And you'll have to forgive me again because this one's not a Hoya either. This is Aspidistra elatior. Now, Aspidistra elatior is native to Japan. It's been introduced into South Central and Southeast China, Great Britain, Korea, Mexico, in parts of Mexico, the central part, the Gulf, the Northeast, and the Southwest. And the Gulf is the part that abuts the Gulf of Mexico. And Spain, Taiwan, and Alabama and Florida in the United States. I would love to hear how it ended up in those places, but for right now, we'll carry on. This was first published in 1834 in Tijdschrift voor Natuurlijke Geschiedenis en Physiologie. My Dutch is not very good. The Journal of Natural History and Physiology by Carl Ludwig von Bloom. And I like the story of, it's also known as the cast iron plant. Number one, those leaves. That's just very, very pretty. This is the elatior that is known as Milky Way, because of that wonderful bit of spotted splash on it. It got its name as the cast iron plant from the mid-1800s because it was one of the few plants for the house that were being put out for people in their homes that could tolerate the fumes from kerosene lights and from early gas lights. Back in the time when gaslight actually meant a light fueled by gas. So these held up really well. They didn't require a lot of light. They didn't require a lot of babying. This one's in a really fast draining mix, so we're going to do something about that. And this is my second one, not from the same company. The one I originally got was not this lush, was not this pretty, and had some kind of scale. And I tried, I scraped, alcohol I did, and I couldn't get rid of it. And so I finally promoted it to compost. Yeah, that was too bad. But it was just a plain green one. Milky Way, I think, is just so cool and pretty. And because you can put it in a sort of lower light area, it's a little splash of something interesting to look at over in that corner. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. I've wanted one of these for a really long time. So this is Aspidistra, elatior, Milky Way, and it came from the Greens House on Etsy. And the question for the comments this week is, what's the best new thing you're doing or using? So it could be a new tool, a new something that you're using for your plants. Doesn't have to be Hoyas. There are other plants. Yeah, I'll say that out loud. There are other plants. You saw some of them. So yeah, if there's a new technique or a new tool or a new something you're using that's working for you, add it to the comments below and let us know what it is, because, you know, if it's not plants, it's toys. So yeah, it doesn't have to be an actual thing. If you're finding that if you do this with your plants or something else that you hadn't been doing before, and it's working for you and you like how that's going, then yeah, in the comments below. And somebody mentioned in the comments in the last week or two that they would really love a video on Dischidia. And I've touched on them lightly, but a Dischidia video is in the works. It's in the process. It's going to happen. Can't tell you exactly when, because I've got an update video and a video entitled So You Want to Grow Hoyas, but it's in the queue. So I'm not ignoring that suggestion. And as always, I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Please remember to click the thumbs up like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. It's your way of helping my channel grow. A lot of the products that you've seen me use are available through my Amazon storefront, and there's a link in the description below. I receive a small commission on the sales, but it doesn't affect your price at all. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a link in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee page, or you can click on the thanks button, which is down here someplace, and YouTube handles all the stuff through the thanks button. I'm going to put links to a couple more videos you might enjoy over here, and enjoy the rest of your week's end.